Attention. Go.
And they're off. Clean strokes both crews.
I expect to see really good, clean, tidy sculling from both these crews. They've got the best of the conditions now on this section of the course where it's so sheltered behind the island, and both of them, well, getting away to really good starts. As we see them just pressing it away, building the stroke rate up before settling into any kind of a length.
Yeah, that's really aggressive, isn't it? I mean, really good, accurate, aggressive rowing there. They'll want to do, I mean, they were bronze medalists in national schools, so they've come with a bit of pedigree. The Windsor Boys crew, I mean, they won the B event in national schools, so they're experienced and used to winning events, so they're not going to want to roll over in this race.
They're certainly not. And look how long they're sculling. Look at that compression, just how tight they get. Let's say that. You know, the seat coming right up from Matty Sadler in the bow seat going right up, getting maximum length they can in a quad in these conditions. Probably quite a good way to try and get it moving.
Yeah, and here, Leander quad, just still you can see how bouncy it is down there. The boat's really twisting side to side, and they're managing the conditions really quite well. And you can see they're really desperately trying to get further away. They're just not breaking contact yet, and they'd like to probably settle into something a bit more relaxed and be more efficient, but they're not yet. The looks of it.
Yeah, no, at the moment I think they're still trying to close the door as much as they can, try and move away as fast as they possibly can and say, come on, let's try and finish this one. But I'm sure these athletes here, these boys from Windsor Boys, won't be giving anything up.
And just the style, Mark Wilkinson, that you mentioned earlier at Windsor Boys, does a great job with these kids, and look how well they scull. Really, not much splash in the water. They're really horizontal, the way they produce power, and they're not disrupting the boat very much at all. But compared to the Leander crew, looks like they're just slightly underpowered as a B crew.
Well, I think with both these crews, we're saying this is what good sculling looks like, and you said it, there's nothing wasted. It's very, very clean. The blades just disappear at the start of the stroke, lock onto the water, and then all four of them are moving really well together. It helps they're wearing exactly the same kit, including the hats, and you can just see them moving the boat past.
And here you can see the concept 2 skinny blades. It's quite a new thing, isn't it, with the oars, that the shafts have become a bit thinner recently, and there's some evidence that it's quite a bit quicker actually than the bigger shafts. Yeah, there's some testing being done. Crews here doing a really nice job. They seem a bit more relaxed into the rhythm now. I mean, it's not over by any stretch, but they look like a really powerful crew here from Leander.
Well, I think it's good tactics really from Leander to just try and keep going at this point. There's no point in trying to let anyone come back in. You want to keep going, get as much control of the race as you possibly can. Because we're having a look there and seeing Max Griffin Sadler in the 2 seat making the calls there, saying, come on boys, we've got to really make a move here, we've got to stay in this one.
Yeah. The Leander seat in the bow seat, Tristan Grange is the only one that's been here before and raced at Henley, so he'll be probably a solid head in this quad, just to really keep the guys under, knowing what they're doing. And I think, what would you, if you're saying the calls in a crew in a race, what's the most important thing you think your job is when you're calling in a coxless boat?
I think in a coxless boat you can't look for the fancy kind of things, you know. I guess you're talking to the head more than the heart. In the coxless boats, you know, the coxes can come up with their real magic calls to try and get you to dig that little bit deeper, find that special motivation. I think in a coxless boat like this quad, it's more doing the basics and doing them really well.
And as hard as it, because some people can't make the calls when they're racing because they just got no breath, but some people seem to be able to actually talk and give commands when they're racing.
Yeah, we see him looking pretty good here. Just looking behind, you can't really see much of the 3-man Ben Jackson. He's a big, strong lad. He was at William Borlase, but made the move over to Leander, and he's found himself now sitting in the 3 seat of the strongest Leander Club crew that there is. So I guess it's a good move for him.
It's great though when you look at the legs there, how they're just all pushing down and accelerated together, and just as the legs are finishing, you see those bodies really accelerating. It's really well timed.
Really good spot there, Adrian. That was a really nice shot, wasn't it? Just that acceleration coming through and a real kind of togetherness, and it was a real sort of squash down of the legs.
And it's that thing, is that people talk about having really fast legs, but actually, if you connect properly, the legs aren't actually that fast, but there's a huge amount of force going through the stretch.
If the legs are going down too fast, it's probably because the oar isn't actually attached to any water. That's the easiest way to get your legs down fast.
Yeah, exactly. You want to accelerate the boat, not just yourself. And here, both crews here handling, I mean, it's awesome, isn't it? The weather, the blades are, so the water's all nice and flat. It's a bit quieter now. I mean, more people have gone home now, and end of the day. But people who care about these crews will still be on the bank cheering them along. It's great, isn't it? People can come and watch rowing again.
Yeah, and enjoy everything which is Henley, and we're delighted you can enjoy these shots of the last race of the day here at Henley. So having a look here, we can all make our own technical calls about what we think's going on. This looks pretty good to me, particularly when you think some of the athletes, like in the 2-seat Archie Lockett, he only started rowing very recently. He's very fit, having done triathlon in France, but really he's only been in a boat for a year or so. And you know, look at how good his skills are, and then how athletic he is, and what a good athlete he has the potential to become.
I think we've had a bit of a witty entry into our entry from one of the boys, Matty Sadler, saying he's doing maths in English Lit and aspiring to be a law student, and he's kind of put in, I have the intellect for it. I like the way he backs himself. That's very good.
But I guess you need to back yourself. You need to sit on the start line thinking you're going to win every race. Gives you the best chance of doing it. I guess you can't sit on the start line thinking you're going to lose every race. That certainly is not a good mentality.
It's not going to help, is it? So here, Leander, the first crew, their top junior crew, making easy work in the end of Windsor's B crew. But both crews are keeping it together and just executing what they've been training to do all season.
Well, again, there's nothing wrong with what we can see in this Windsor Boys B crew. They should be proud of themselves, proud of the way they're sculling, proud of how well that boat's moving. If you didn't have the Leander Club crew in the picture, you'd say that's a pretty good demonstration of junior quad sculling.
100%. Those guys are really sculling very well. It just shows the fine margins, doesn't it? It really is how hard it is to win these events at Henley. So, yeah, great footage from the drone. They're going over these two crews. Still both going for it here down the last few meters along the enclosures. Still people on the deck chairs cheering them on. You can still hear the crowds.
It's a nice picture of the progress board on your right. We mention it all the time. It shows where the crews are. So for people who aren't watching on television, they can get a good old-fashioned version of what's happening. And it will have been showing them this Leander Club crew has been in control of this race from about the barrier. As we see them crossing the line now, is a win for that Leander crew ahead of Windsor Boys B.
So a great race in the last race of the day, great conditions, and a win there quite comfortably for Leander Club versus Windsor Boys B.